Starting with a deep breath. Centering. Easing out the tension. Here we go. As above, so below, as within, so without. I only want to hold you in my heart. I only want to hold you in my heart. All right. Today I want to talk about, I wonder if you can see it. I have this tarot deck. Yeah, it's kind of dark, but you can't really see it. But it's the Waite Smith deck, the old school one. It's been around since like the early 20th century. Why do I want to talk about this deck? I don't have a lot of card decks. This deck has significance because so it came out, the year this deck was published, came out around the same year as the year my grandmother was born, which was 1914. This deck was one she owned, not this one, but the same kind of deck, right? The Waite Smith or whatever. So the thing about my grandmother is she was also part of the Marjorie meetings. Like, she was a child at the time, but she was also basically her parents were well-to-do doctors, and they were part of the Marjorie meetings, where Marjorie was what do you call it? There's a word. She was a medium, so they would hold séances. This was spiritualism, right? Like, spiritualism was like the thing to do. And the thing about Marjorie was she was one of the few people who Houdini had a hard time disproving. And that's not to say she wasn't making it up or fabricating things. I just know the effect it had on my grandmother, who was a true believer. I mean, she was a kid at the time, but she was a true believer. But it's just a little bit of family lore that's kind of neat to talk about. These touchstones, these nodes of life that condense around certain points and certain people. And that's my connection to 2 degrees of separation from Houdini, right? 3 degrees, maybe? So I don't know that my grandmother ever met Houdini, but she met, she was at those seances, so maybe. So that was one of my card decks. The other card deck I have is, you probably also won't be able to see this one. These are called interactive cards. They're internal family systems related. They're made by a guy, Tom Holmes is his last name. He's got a website, wingedheart.org. I'm not a super fan of the artwork, but I got them because I'm doing a fair amount of internal family systems with myself. I think it's a useful framework, and I haven't used the cards a lot, but I think they're a useful tool to have, just for spreads pointing out how I might be feeling or how other people might be feeling. Um, so I'm just checking in to see if I have any other feelings about what I've shared with respect to my grandmother. And I have a book on it. It's called like The Witch of Something Street. It's on my to-do list to read. I'm probably gonna read that at some point soon. But family. That's gonna be probably another video. But family's really weird. It's a really weird thing. I went to visit my mother today, and I was talking about my grandmother, and the story in the family goes that my grandmother wasn't really afraid of anything. She was always, confident in herself. And yet, I asked my mother if she'd ever seen my grandmother grieve about anything, and she told me a story about how when her father basically dying in her arms, or at least with her, and my grandmother wanting to go get someone to help while her father was having a heart attack, and her father had basically communicated that he was ready to be done. But there are no. She didn't have any stories about my grandmother grieving anything. So that I thought was interesting. I mean, I suppose if you have faith in something, maybe it gives you space to not feel like you have to grieve much. But I also think it sort of takes away something fundamental. And in some ways, I don't want to say I'm sorry that my grandmother never had to experience or got to experience that. I mean, she also, went through her husband's death too. I just, surprised Mom didn't tell me about that story. But in any case, tarot cards. I don't know. I haven't done too many tarot readings. I still am very unfamiliar with the symbology. I'm looking more into it, but it's probably not really my thing. But it's sentimental in a way that's like an old memory of home, that a home you haven't been to in a long time, like a childhood home that you left when you were really young, and you have the faintest memory, but you have a connection, but it's the faintest of connections, but also very deep, just not very vivid. That's what it's like. Anyway, time to wrap up. If I could see your shadow, if I could see your shadow, if I could see your shadow, what would I see? All right. Have a good day.